everybody, my name is Naomi and I work with Saddlebook, and today in this video I'm going to be showing all you producers how to set up your event profile. Let's get to it.
Okay, so in this video I'll be showing you how to set up your event profile. So in this example I already have my classes set up, and the next step that I'll want to do is check my event profile before my event goes live for everybody. And if you have your new event checklist handy, I suggest that you refer to it as we go through the event profile. So your new event checklist, I'll show you what that looks like real quick. Just looks like this. It goes through setting up your classes on your production page, and then it has a section titled Event Profile that's going to go through all the important details of the event profile that you should look at. If you don't have your new event checklist handy or didn't receive one in your onboarding package, reach out to one of the product champions and we would be happy to provide one for you. Okay, so to get started, we'll tap on our event drop-down menu and event profile. Now on this page, you'll notice that there's several different tabs that go across, and at the bottom you have an update event button. So as you go through, you don't have to hit the update event button at each time. You can go through each of these tabs, and as long as you haven't left your event profile, when you're done, you'll hit the update event button and it will update all the changes that you made across the tabs. So the first one that we'll look at is the title tab, and this just goes over your event description. So things like the title of your event. You'll want to make sure the event is public. And then you can fill in a description for your event. As you're working on the description, notice you can tap and drag the lower right-hand corner to make this box bigger as you're working on it so that you can see what you're doing. Now, what we recommend is anything that would be mentioned on a flyer, you would also put in the description for your event. And this helps your writers know what's going on. So when they land on your public-facing event page, they're going to see all this information. So you'll want to put things like your schedule, when does it start, what classes are you offering, are you doing time onlys, is it cash at the gate, and so on. You'll also want to provide contact information for you in case they have questions. That way they can easily get a hold of you. The next thing you'll want to verify is the discipline, which this is set up when you initially create your event. And finally, if you'd like to add a picture for your event, this picture displays on the public-facing event page, so where your writers land. And we recommend doing a nice photo instead of a graphic with a lot of text. And this is because it's going to show up different based on what device you or your writers are using at the time. So if you're using a cell phone or a computer, the image will show up in a different way and you could lose information that's on that image. Now, if we take a look at the next tab, we'll look at the Dates tab. So the first thing that you'll want to look at when you're ready to announce your event and make it live is your announce date. This date is the day that it will show up on Saddlebook's main list of events. So let's say that you're working on your event right now and you would like it to go ahead and show up on that list of events starting tomorrow. You would put in tomorrow's date here. Your online entries open date is the day that writers can go in and actually submit an entry for your event. So this can be the same date as your announce date, or if you want to announce your event and then allow online entries a week later, you can do that as well. Then we have the event begin and end date, and if it's a single day event, these dates will be the same. And finally, we have the early entry deadline date. Now, it's important to note that this date does not close entries. This date simply infers that something might happen on this date. So let's say that you're going to start charging a late fee after a certain date. You would use this date to imply that that might happen. If you do have a late fee, you'll have to set that up separately in your settings and tell it which date you'd like it to start applying on. If you don't have an early entry deadline, then it simply will default to the same day as the event begin date. So you'll notice that there are quite a few tabs at the top of this page and quite a few settings, but we're not going to use all of those settings. So I'm just going to be showing you the important tabs to look at if you're setting up a regular event. If there are settings that you need to use that we don't go through, the product champion that's helping you in setting up your event will direct you in that way. So don't worry, we'll work with you to ensure that things are set up the way that you're needing. So the next tab that we'll take a look at is the confirmation email tab. This is what sends an automatic email to your writers once they've submitted an entry. So if there's something in the body of this, if you provide a message, even something as simple as "thank you for your entry," then when the writer submits their entry, they'll receive a confirmation email with whatever is included in this message, as well as a link to their entry. If you choose to leave this blank, they will not receive a confirmation email with a link to their entry. So this is a fun one to make sure that you have set up. The next tab that we'll look at is restrictions. And a few of the restrictions that we recommend that you have in place when you open your event is competitor allowed to edit submitted entry and writer horse swap allowed. Now, when you allow a competitor to edit a submitted entry, what this means is they will be able to add things to an existing entry. So let's say that they only have one horse initially, and then they decide they want to add a second horse, or they want to add some more classes or some more stalls, etc. This will allow them to go in and do that, and that way you as the producer don't have to make those changes for them each time. Now, on the same token, if the competitor needs to remove things from their entry, they won't be able to do that. So they will still need to reach out to you as the producer to make those changes to their entries. And don't worry, we're here to help you. So if you get stuck, just call one of us and we would be more than happy to walk you through that. The next item, writer horse swap, allows a writer to swap their horses. And this is nice because then you don't have to do that for them as the producer. They'll be able to do that until the pre-entry cutoff date. And once a draw has been assigned, they won't be able to swap their horses. They'll have to reach out to you as the producer to do that. The next tab we'll take a look at is required data. On this tab, you'll see horse info required, rider info required, and then there's other information here that you can require if you choose. If you require this information on the event level, then everyone will need to provide this information to you. If you have information that you're trying to require just on a class level, like let's say that you have a futurity, then you'll do that on the class settings itself. So in this case, for the event level, you'll always want to require the horse name and the rider name. You could also require the registered name for the horse. And if you do this, it will show up in addition to the barn name on the draw sheet. For your rider info required, we always recommend adding the phone, date of birth, address, city, state, and zip. And once the writer has already provided this once to you, they don't have to go in and update it each time that they do an entry. This information is saved to their Saddle Dash and will automatically populate based on your requirements. Email address is already automatically collected because this is an online entry platform. So you'll always have their email address. Now, once you've gone through the event profile and all these different things, you can go to the bottom of your page and hit Update Event. And this will update all the settings that you just provided in your event profile. Now your final step is to share your event. And you can do that by tapping on your logo up here in the upper left. And this will bring you to your public-facing event page. This is the page that all your riders see when they land on your event. And you'll notice once your event starts and once you publish draws, you'll have a draws button that will take them to the draws. They can search their name. They can also receive text notifications with their draws and their times as they run if you're set up for that. If you want to be set up for that and you're not yet or you're not sure, just reach out to one of the Saddlebook team members and we would be happy to help you. You'll also see a live leaderboard button here. And if you do time onlys, you'll have a time only schedule button. And all of your riders will be able to see this and follow along. If you provided information in your event description, it's going to show up here. Now the URL that you'll use to share this event is this one right up here at the top. So all you'll do is click it, and then you can right click and copy, or you can do Command C or Control C on your keyboard. This will just copy the information that's here, and then you can paste it to Facebook or into a text message or an email, and then your riders can use that link to get directly here. And once you open your online entries, you'll have a button right here that'll say Online Entries, and the riders will use that to submit their entry.
Thanks so much for watching, and stay tuned for more helpful videos.